call the Village of Midlothian Board meeting for May 25th to order. Roll call.
Trustee Gillis. Here. Trustee Ivan.
Here.
Trustee Tilley. Trustee Kreis.
Here.
Trustee LaRue.
Here.
Trustee Moskal.
Here.
Mayor Ryback.
Here.
You have a quorum.
Please stand for the pledge, and after the pledge, please remain standing for a moment of silence for our veterans. I pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Thank you. At this time, if I could have Officer Miller please step forward. Oh, yeah. All right, let me see if I can get through this. This is a resolution 160525A, a resolution honoring police officer William Miller upon his retirement. Whereas William Miller has completed 26 years of service to the Village of Midlothian Police Department, beginning his employment as a patrol officer on April 16, 1990, and whereas during his 26 years of service as a police officer, William Miller has conscientiously and capably served the Midlothian Police Department, the Village of Midlothian, and its citizenry, and has demonstrated the highest principles of community service while exhibiting high moral and ethical standards. And whereas Officer Miller demonstrated sound judgment and decision-making in matters involving the Midlothian Police Department, and his integrity, courtesy, and professionalism earned him the respect of the community, his co-workers, and his peers. And whereas during his service as a member of the Midlothian Police Department, Officer Miller was a K-9 officer for several years, became a certified juvenile officer, and a certified breath alcohol operator, using his training and skills to help protect our community. As a range officer, rifle instructor, and MEGGIT training instructor, Officer Miller has been a strong advocate of promoting superior weapon training and safety for our officers while serving on this department. Additionally, Officer Miller has earned the confidence and respect of his supervisors and peers, frequently has been called upon to serve as a field supervisor when there's been no sergeant on duty. And whereas the Midlothian Police Department and the Village of Midlothian have benefited significantly from the dedicated law enforcement skills and services of Police Officer Miller, now therefore be it resolved by the Village President and the Board of Trustees of the Village of Midlothian, the men and the women of the Midlothian Police Department, and the citizens of the Village of Midlothian join in expressing sincere appreciation to William Miller for his many years of law enforcement service and his positive contributions to the Midlothian Police Department, and extend him the best wishes for a healthy and happy retirement. Passed and adopted by the President and Board of Trustees of the Village of Midlothian this 25th day of May 2016. Congratulations.
That being said, I'd like to present you with your official retirement badge. We've worked together for over 26 years. I gotta tell you stories. Thank you all very much.
Very good.
Keep them great.
Congratulations.
There you go.
Make it a long and healthy, happy one. Can I get a motion to approve the
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gilliland.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
Congratulations again, Officer Miller. If the only reason you came this evening was to watch him be honored, you are more than welcome to leave at this time. You're more than welcome to stay for the meeting as well, but I won't make you if you'd rather go out and celebrate with Officer Miller, except you two. Some of you have got to stay. Nice try. At this time, I will open up the floor to public comment. If you'd like to address the board, now is the time. Yeah.
Valerie Weiskirk, Midlothian, Illinois. Be impressed that I have only an index card and it's only one side. As I'm trying to wrap up loose ends in my own personal life, a couple of quick things that I was hoping wouldn't slip by too much longer. One of them would be the sign outside. Can we get that hanging again that announces that board meetings are here? You know, committees are the first and third. Wednesdays, board meetings are whatever was on that sign, just getting it back. But the other thing would be this whole 3-year request for proposal direction this board has been taking. And I have yet to hear Sterling Codifiers mentioned at all. So I was kind of hoping that I could discover tonight what steps a resident could take to go ahead and get on the agenda. And I would like to ask of the board to have 14 to 16 minutes. And I'd like to give you guys a full presentation that even though I don't have any initials or anything with my name, I would classify it as a professional review of our document, where we're at. And also I'd like to know, you know, if in fact this vendor is being considered, I would hope, for an RFP, or if that for some reason has been dismissed already, kind of thing. So any information on Sterling Codifiers kind of direction?
No one's mentioned Sterling Codifiers to go out for bid. We can, I suppose.
I think, you know, we put it on the back burner, but there was a couple other people that were more than acceptable too. And, you know, again, if the board feels like they want to do it, then we should do it. I mean, basically that would fall under our initiative to have new proposals for all of our contracted vendors that provide services.
And that would be appreciated. And then still, I would like that opportunity to give that presentation to also review potential vendors. Because I do believe there's some criteria that you and I, Don, for example, have bantered back and forth over the years, that we have our own personal must-haves, maybes, don't need kind of approach. So again, what is the appropriate procedure for a resident to do that? If they wanted to make a presentation to the board, I guess to push for...
Why don't you and I create a paper that we can present to the board, and you know, we can talk about what might be some criteria for choosing a codifier.
That's good enough. Thank you.
Thank you. Is there anyone else who'd like to address the board? With no further comment, I will close the floor to public comment. And trustees, I'd be looking for a motion for the consent agenda. This week we have the bill list, the minutes from the board meeting of April 13, 2016, the minutes from the committee meeting on April 20, 2016, the minutes from the executive session of April 20, 2016, the department reports from the building, fire, police, and public works, and the treasurer's report for April 2016.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. Roll call.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Killily.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
We'll move on to trustee business. Trustee Kreis.
This evening, I have some updates I'd like to share with the board. First is the grand reopening of Brill's Hardware on the weekend of June 10th to the 12th. You've been in there recently. They've been quite busy remodeling. I was in there a couple times today, and they are very busy remodeling, doing a ton of work. And everyone is invited. I have flyers, and I believe our police department and fire department will be there, correct?
Yes.
At some point, probably that Saturday.
I was just asking Steve about that, so I'd like to coordinate together if possible.
You coordinate it, let me know so I can let them know, okay? I do have flyers. They are in the foyer. We have it on the village's website as well, which leads me into my next item, which is an update from our rain ready meeting, which was last Thursday, and that was May 19th. And a lot of discussion surrounded around implementation and finding funding in projects, which led to the suggestion of a demonstration project, which took off rapidly, and that is a rain garden in front of Brill's Hardware. They are paying for all of the supplies, but with the efforts of Superintendent Sperry and Public Works and a number of volunteers, we hope to have another rain garden installed by the grand opening. And a number of us, including Valerie, were feverishly working out there today, and Trustee Ivan was there. And if you drive by there, you will see the amount of work that occurred on one of the hottest days, or probably the hottest day of the year so far. And Mr. Gillis stopped by, and I understand you brought us lunch, and we were gone. Is that true?
I don't even like tacos.
I think he felt sorry for us, because we were really working up there. So stay tuned. There'll be another contingent of volunteers out there on Saturday working. And Carl, you didn't think we could move all that stone?
Yes, that is true. Do all that stuff.
And it got moved. Joe, have you seen it?
I was over there before the stone got moved, so
I think you're going
I'm
to be
surprised.
impressed with what happened this afternoon. So I want to thank all of the volunteers. A couple other updates. Enterprise Zone, I'd like to read the email that I received on Monday from Mary Schmidt, who is the zone assistant. Lots of activity in the Cal-Sag Enterprise Zone. In the last 2 weeks, projects were filed for Dunkin' Donuts, Alsip, Taco Bell, Alsip, Drive Time, Midlothian, Decker Brothers Construction, Blue Island. Grand opening of Thornton's gas station in Blue Island is scheduled for the first week in June. Great to see construction in the zone and in the region. And I think I had mentioned to everyone last week, I had sent everything to Sean Fitzgerald at Drive Time, and after that, got an email from Mary Schmidt that they did file their enterprise zone application, which, Mayor, leads me to my next request. You told me last Wednesday you would forward me the name of the individual at Ricky Rocket so that I can make sure they get the link in the application, and I really appreciate it because this is really huge benefit for them. Speaking about drive time, I did communicate the board's counter offer. I received a phone call from the attorney from the developer last week, and they are very anxious to acquire that property, but we decided that we would wait until, I believe, June 16th. Attorney, this is when the RDA would expire. I think it's the 16th or the 17th. So I said I think it would be premature to draw up another full-blown RDA, and they were going to submit a contract, but I did not, backup contract, but I did not receive that yet. So I will keep the board posted. They still seem to be extremely interested in that parcel. What else do I have? Oh, I will read the latest memo from Peter Camberos from our environmental consultants at Weaver. And this he emailed me yesterday. We are moving along with preparing the site remediation program report. We expect to have it available for drive time review by Thursday. Upon their review, we will finalize the report and submit it to the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency. We expect to have the final report submitted to the IEPA for their review by the end of the week. Actually, when we were working out on the rain garden today, Peter did call me with one question. So hopefully they will have that to drive time tomorrow and we can move forward. And we had a conference call last week with the IEPA about expediting the application, and they seem to be amenable to that. Okay, and this report that they're preparing, which is a cover letter, but it's about 9 pages on the site, we hope to have down to the IEPA by Friday. Just as a reminder, Veterans Committee Parade, George is here, I'll remember Sharon Thomas. Our parade is Saturday, June 25th. It's rapidly approaching, so anyone that's interested, I have sign-up forms, I have flyers, and the Veterans Committee is working very, very hard on pulling together another parade for this year. And that leads me to the next question. I don't know if it's a legal question or just to get the board's input. We have a number of members on the Veterans Committee who have not shown up for meetings for over a year. And we sent a letter to these members asking them if they were no longer interested, we understood, but to submit a letter of resignation. And unfortunately, nobody has submitted a letter of resignation. So legally, can they just be removed from the committee?
The mayor can remove him.
Okay. Okay, so I guess I would just have to give you a list, Mayor, right? Okay. And that, I believe, is all I have this evening, unless anybody has a question.
Karen, just in relation to the water tower, our date expired on June 22nd. The water tower, what's going on with the drive-in property? They're going to get an extension, or?
They do have an extension. The board, I believe, on April, my calendar here, last Wednesday in April, it would have been April 27th, the board approved a 30-day extension to the redevelopment agreement, okay? I believe that extension goes to June 16th or 17th. And that was based on, they want a current, no further remediation letter from the Illinois Environmental Protection Agency, which we will not have by that date. We are working, that was my conference call with the IEPA last week with our environmental consultant, to try to expedite it when they get the documentation. If that bid expires, there's no way, and I think Attorney Gleason would concur that that closing will occur by, when does it expire, June 22nd?
Yeah, the extension is just for the due diligence period, so we would still have to close, it would still take like a few weeks to close.
Right, because you'll have to order title and,
That's
correct?
already done.
That's already done,
They got
okay.
title, they already
Okay.
handled that, so it should be pretty quick.
But it won't be June 22nd, unless they said tomorrow everything's,
You know, we would have to pass an ordinance to sell the property to them and all that stuff.
yeah, we still have the legal things that, you'd have to set up a closing and,
That's easy, but there's some steps.
Well, is there a way we could ask the contractor to extend their bid?
And you can ask them to extend the bid off or more time.
We just need a date, kind of estimated date, when we thought it could be.
well, again, if we close on the Dodge Chrysler property, and I have to confirm this with Treasurer Britton, I don't believe there's still gonna be enough money in that water bond fund to construct the water tower. I think we need to sell the property north of 145th Street in order to have sufficient funds to construct the water tower. That was the whole point. This would be great, but it's still not gonna be enough money. We were still gonna be probably, what, maybe $200,000 to $300,000 short. I don't want to quote because we don't have the figures, but we have to close on the other parcel as well.
Or is that ever not?
That is still, we're working with the redevelopment agreement with the people who want to purchase it. Attorney Gleason actually provided me with a few more questions today, so I can get that going. He's very interested. He actually has a letter from his bank already saying he can have the funding. So that, when I get the RDA done, it could go pretty quickly. I can't give you a timetable right now.
That would probably be more than 30 or 60 days.
What was the price on the winning bid?
Pardon?
What was the price on the winning bid?
1.977. Yeah.
And what were the payment terms? Like when would it be due?
Oh, well, I paid as the work is completed, so the full term wouldn't be done with the project until the end of next year. So I could kind of put together a rough schedule of when those costs would come in.
Could you do that, and we can match it up with what happens over the next 30
Yeah.
days with the timing and the other parcel?
Yeah, this June 22nd deadline, just to work that,
I mean, you wouldn't start incurring costs until the fall at the earliest.
Okay.
But the board has to make sure that we
Oh, yeah.
have the funds available to pay. the
And if we know we're gonna sell, and we know the price, we'll have an idea of
Right,
what's left that we have to find.
right. If we get a signed contract
Yeah.
on the old used car lot, the parcel north of
you know. Who's
100.
trying to get in there?
And his name, what's the name of the company? Cars Inc. or something?
That's what you said.
Yeah, Cars Inc.
Thank you.
Sorry, in the meantime though, we should go back and ask for an extension, right?
Oh, absolutely. And the longer, the better, only because.
Yeah, I was just asking for guidance on the length, because they're not going to be like a
It's
year or
30
so.
days, no, but 30 days is certainly not going to be enough.
60 or 90?
I would say at least 90.
Was that bid in line with what you had estimated
It was a
before?
little bit higher than they'd estimated, but it was the lowest of 4 bids, so I think if we were to rebid it, probably wouldn't come in any less.
See how you can get us an extension, Jeff.
Right.
Okay?
Sorry, the price, drive time, what you said? 1.1, right? Okay.
Okay, well done.
I think we're all done. Does anybody else have any questions?
Okay. Trustee Adler?
Thank you, Mayor. I just have a few items from the Public Works staff report. Ordered the 55 trees for the ash tree replacement grant. 2 employees attended a chainsaw class in Homewood, and we had no water main breaks that month. And 145th and Keating ditch and culvert work was completed to enable better drainage for the floodwaters that were around there. And on Monday, we received the High Ranger, or we took delivery of it, and we're scheduling classes for it on the youth department. And that concludes my comments.
Okay, thank you. Trustee Gillis?
Yes, a couple of things. I do not have anything to report on existing businesses, and we haven't received any new business applications. We do have some interest in the south end of the Dollar Tree building and the old liquor store between Firehouse Hot Dogs and Midlothian Music. But again, this is only inquiries at this time, so I guess this is just a wait and see kind of thing. So hopefully we can get somebody in those 2 vacant buildings. It would be nice. We have received 2 applications in the last 2 weeks for the code enforcement part-time officer. I don't believe we have set up any interviews yet. We're still open for potential applicants. Again, this is a part-time position, 28 hours a week with no benefits, as a code enforcement and a building enforcement officer. Just a couple of highlights for the building department for the month of April. I just want to make sure that everybody's aware of. It was a pretty busy month for permits issued. We did collect fees in amount of $9,928 for the month for permits issued. We had contractors that were registered in the amount of $4,600 and general contractors registered amount of $1,500. I believe there's 13 rental homes that were inspected. So they've been quite busy with the staff that we do have for the building department. We had some inquiries about the grass cutting. Superintendent DeSimone has been working on getting as many landscape contractors as we can to compare. We have whittled it down to 2. There were a couple that still have given us some prices, but the 2 that we have that are potentially a good fit, and the fee schedule is doable. One is Top Gun Landscaping out of Chicago Heights. They're an established and reputable landscape company. Their initial cost, not to exceed 1,500 square feet, was $75 for the initial cut and $40 thereafter. Roy's Landscaping, who we've been working with, last year they gave us a proposal and the initial cut was $150. They dropped it down to $97, and I believe their cut thereafter was $75, and they dropped it down to $64. I myself feel very comfortable with keeping Roy's Landscaping. They're a little higher than Top Gun, but we know what we're getting for the money. We know that they have been doing a very good job. We used them 2 years ago. We're using them presently right now to help out with some of the overgrowth that we have. But I guess it's the board's choice here if they would like to go with the lowest bid, which was 75 or 40. I would like to make a recommendation of utilizing Roy's Landscaping at $97 for initial cut, $64 thereafter.
So, may I ask Superintendent, did you have experience in your former position with Top Gun?
I did, yes, sir.
And they were satisfactory?
At least satisfactory.
At least satisfactory. And basically they were in the same position as we are here. They cut the lawns on the same basis that you're setting up rules for now.
Correct, except at a much larger scale.
Not much like this. Well, then I would think we should take the whole bidder. If the superintendent gives us a recommendation, not that Roy's voices, we know it's good too, but I think if he's comfortable with the Top Gun as a track record in Chicago Heights, and especially if they're doing more, they did more work for them, then I don't see why we want to take that and hire Top Gun.
I think I have to agree with Trustee Killelea, only because we have to pay this money up front. We have no guarantee of reimbursement until the property transfers, so it could be a number of years. And I guess Superintendent DeSimone, do you have a comfort level with Top Gun?
I do. He was actually a firefighter by trade in the city of Chicago Heights for many years. He's had landscaping, a successful landscaping business for about 25 years now. One suggestion I'd like to make is I have 2 other reputable companies that were supposed to get bids to me prior to our meeting tonight. I got a phone call late this afternoon, so I would still like to see at least 1 or 2 more submitted.
Okay, so then could we keep doing what we're doing with Roy's, and maybe next week, if we have to turn it into a special meeting to approve, if you could put something together for us in writing so we could see, have it prior to the meeting, the vendors, the initial cut, the subsequent cut, and then if you could get us to that as soon as you have it, get it to the 6 trustees, or Trustee Gillis could get it to us, so we have the information ahead of time, and if we have any questions, we can address it prior to the meeting. Does that make sense?
Yeah, one thing I'd like to ask too is that, like Top Gun, what they had put in their proposal was initial cut up to 1,500 square feet. What would be the fee for over 1,500 square feet?
Now, that was probably determined by the size of the lot.
Okay, because we do have a couple of areas that would fall into.
Most definitely we do, yes. And we've had Roy's cut one of those properties already, so we can stay on top of it. Because obviously the initial cut price will rise if it exceeds 10 to 12 inches, so we're trying to stay on top of it with Roy's right now.
So someone is cutting the grass now?
Yes, sir.
Superintendent Sperry, is Royce still maintaining the village green?
Yes.
At no cost to the village? Are there other areas they're still doing that?
They're doing the other village properties and.
But those are under a contract?
Yeah.
But the green, I know, at least for a number of years, they were doing pro bono. Thank you.
Okay, so we'll put it off until we get the other bids and go from there. And that's all I have.
Okay. Trustee LaRue.
Yes, ma'am.
as we discussed last week in committee, our fire department and every fire department in the state of Illinois has mandated that all EMS reporting be done electronically, which requires our fire department to acquire software to do that. Firefighter Daniel Gazelle, AD, did a lot of work and homework and effort put into this bid. He looked at 2 different companies, Image Trend and Firehouse, and the recommendation from him and from Chief and Deputy Chief is that we go with Image Trend. So I'm making a motion that we approve the purchase of the Image Trend software to do EMS. We're going to do all the fire department software and reporting. It will be $8,166 a year for the first 3 years, and then $7,000 a year after that. And keeping in mind that firefighter Gazelle also was able to get 4 of the health books, 3-year-old health books donated from so that saved the village quite a bit of money, approximately $16,000. So I make a motion that we approve the purchase of the Image Trend software for the fire department.
I'll second.
Any discussion? Roll call.
Trustee LaRue?
Aye.
Trustee Kreis?
Aye.
Trustee Gillis?
Aye.
Trustee Ivan?
Aye.
Trustee Killily?
Aye.
Trustee Maskell?
Aye.
Motion carried.
Thank you. We're going to approve the bill for Code Red. Because they're asking. They're asking. All right, so.
Next week we'll get it.
Okay. Excellent. Some highlights from the Midlothian Fire Department monthly report of April that we passed this evening. There were 122 emergency calls, 51 were advanced life support, 41 were basic life support. There's 177 total calls for emergency calls per month. Monthly bill out for the transport was $77,353 and received was $32,908. And for the fiscal year that we just closed, the village received $343,218 from the transport. So right where we kind of expect to be. And the 7th annual community policing community golf outing / dare golf outing was this past Saturday, and it was a beautiful day and an outstanding outing. I believe everyone had a good time, and we managed to raise quite a bit of money for such a small outing. It was very, very well done, very well run. A lot of people donated a lot of stuff. The mayor, the police association, the fire association, so many whole sponsors. I couldn't list them all, but Chief Coughlin was part of getting most of those. So we appreciate everything everyone did. I know I'm forgetting names, but especially the community policing committee for organizing it, running it, and hopefully we'll do it bigger next year. And lastly, don't want to forget about the Fire Up a Cure that our Midlothian Fire Department is involved with this year. It's going to be held on Saturday, July 30th at St. Xavier's University from 11 to 5. There's going to be all kinds of stuff for the kids: face painting, inflatables, magic, magicians, clowns, fire truck play, arts and craft, fire pole, and there's going to be all kinds of firefighter competitions that will be fun to watch. So there will be tickets available at the door, or you can go online to fireupacure.com or go to the fire department Facebook page, the Midlothian Fire Department Facebook page, to get your tickets and donate to Midlothian's fire department's push for this event. And this year, or it's the first year doing it, but the Midlothian Fire Department has chosen to sponsor a young boy named Jack Higgins. And let's see, how old is he now? 5 now? Yeah. And he was diagnosed with acute lymphoblastic leukemia just 14 days after his birthday. So with him, and all the money raised will be, and that's all I have, Mr. Chairman.
They did, just telling the trustee, tonight the guys did go over to his house, family meetings at the hospital, at the family, brought him over some gifts and stuff like that, some shirts and all that. He will actually be out there, he's the coach of the team, these guys compete, so he's actually the coach, so. The guys are all fired up about it, so we are the highest fire department so far raising money for the cure. So we would do good, hopefully they win. We'll be good. Thanks.
Trustee Gilliland?
We had the HR contract to approve, and been rereading the contract a lot to try to make some mistakes. And one thing that struck me, which I think we should change, is that we can cancel the contract after 30 days notice. This is an open-ended contract. It's the only one we're going to do like this, but it's the open-ended contract for the audit. And I think just to protect ourselves, this on the initial go-around with the HR consultant, I'd like to recommend we change that period to 14 days. Just to be ultra conservative and to protect the village as much as we possibly can. After that, I think we'll have a better idea what's going on. But this one, we don't know exactly what's going on, happen, how long. And I will be the trustee liaison, and I will make sure we will have weekly conferences with the HR consultant to monitor what's going on there. But I think just to protect the village, I'd like to recommend that we change that time period to 14 days, if we can amend that on its face at this time.
So change it from 30 to 14.
And I believe there's also a typo in here.
Oh, is that?
On number 2, midway down, assisting creating mechanisms and policies to, it says facilities employer. I think it's supposed to be to facilitate. That would need to be amended on its face as well.
Okay, with those two changes, you're
I'd like to make a motion to adopt to approve the contract.
I'll second it.
Any further discussion? Roll call.
Trustee Killalea.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried.
That's all.
Okay. Trustee Moskowitz.
Yes, Mayor, just a few things. Thank everyone for coming out to support our police department last Friday for the Special Olympics Cop on Top. I haven't seen the final total, but I think it was fairly successful. But just good crowd when I got by and they knew they were in. Good to see all that support there. A couple of highlights from our April Police Department report that was passed this evening. For the month of April, there were 1,890 police calls for the month. Under the category of activities, there were 5 traffic arrests for DUI, 18 arrests for suspended and revoked licenses, 11 traffic arrests for miscellaneous charges, 26 move citations, 232 traffic citations, 31 long-form arrests, 9 juvenile arrests, and 5 warrant arrests. There were 26 traffic crashes, 9 involving personal injury and 17 involving property damage. There were 163 written warnings issued. There were 495 parking citations issued and 390 parking citations paid. Under the category of activities, there were 4 deployments of Midlothian's radar trailer. There was 1 eviction under the crime-free housing ordinance. And under the category of training, 2 officers received 16 hours of training in CERT. 2 officers received 44 hours of training in truck enforcement training. 1 officer received 16 hours of training in canine handler training. 3 officers received 8 hours of training in police ambush seminars. 1 officer received 24 hours of training in mobile field force training. And 24 officers received 1 hour of training in Majit's firearm simulator training. Lastly, just one other update, and I think I shared this with the board last week, is that we have published the RFP for audit services with our responses due back on June 20th. That is all I have tonight.
Okay, thank you. Any updates? Go on to department heads. Chief Kaufman?
Yes, Mayor, thanks. Just a brief update for the board there's a meeting today with Chi-Com, our Princeton radio system. Everything's moving forward. Documents are being presented to the state, so we're still looking at 3 to 6 months out till we're ready to go with this. But Chi-Com wanted to start ordering equipment, which would make things earlier, but until we're approved by the state, we said no, we don't want to pay for anything, and something happened. It's a very slim chance that anything will go, get denied, but we don't have to pay some expenses and something go wrong. So that's where we are with that. We'll keep you updated as it progresses. That's all I have right now.
Thank you. Chief Outwager?
The other thing I want to bring up is we'll be taking delivery of the new fire engine on June 8th and June 9th. It'll be ready in Wisconsin. We did the pre-construction visit, I think it was a week ago. Everything's going well, and they're moving things along because they're a little busy right now. So ours will be ready. We'll pick it up. It'll be in-house on June 9th, and hopefully we can get it in service within the next week or so after that. That's all.
2713 is going to be out here.
2713 is stripped, waiting for the guy to pick it up. He paid for it. He has the title. We're just waiting for him to pick it up. Hopefully that'll be by the mid next week. Hopefully.
Very good. That's good news. Superintendent Sperry?
Just want to commend the fire department and their paramedics. We had an injury a couple weeks ago, as you all know, and they responded to the call, did a great job, calming our employee, Brad Tobias, and then transferred him to the hospital, and I just wanted to commend the fire department. Pass that along. That's all.
Okay, thank you. Superintendent DeSimone?
Nothing to report, Mayor.
Thank you. Engineer Koza?
One item, the village received a letter from IDOT regarding some 2006 earmark funding that I believe was attributed to the Midlothian projects. Worked with Superintendent Sperry to request the reallocation of that funding. I would classify it as a long shot, but we at least asked. So we just sent that off yesterday, so we'll see where that goes. But IDOT's going through and reallocating old earmarks from old projects that they believe are stagnant or no longer active, and they believe there were 2 attributed to us, so we asked for those funds for different uses. So we'll see where that goes. And that's all. Thank you.
Thank you. Treasurer Britton?
Nothing, Madam Mayor.
Thank you. Under my business, I have the approval for the special use ordinance for 3202 and 3228 West 147th Street. This is roughly the corner of 147th and Kedzie, which would also incorporate the Casey Freeze.
No.
Not the Casey Freeze. Okay. This is just for the corner then, right?
Right.
Okay. The 4 pins on the cover here.
I would like to make a motion to table this item. I think there are a number of elements missing in this ordinance.
I'll second it.
I have a motion to table in a second. Roll call.
Trustee Kreis.
Aye.
Trustee Ivan.
Aye.
Trustee Gillis.
Aye.
Trustee Coley.
Aye.
Trustee LaRue.
Aye.
Trustee Maskell.
Aye.
Motion carried to table.
I think that it needs to be rewritten, and it needs to include all of the elements that we require of any other used car dealer. Setting the minimum price, maintaining the property. Typically, those have been tied to redevelopment agreements, but we should have some conditions in here, or we could end up with a very poorly run business, and I think we're trying to continually upgrade our businesses. And if we have those elements in the ordinance, I think it'll make it much easier on the building department. I don't know if anybody else has anything they'd like to add, but this is missing a number of the key elements that we require of all other used car dealers.
I wanted to add about the J.C. Peach property. I'm assuming that was going to be part of the sales floor or sales parking lot?
Yeah, it's actually going to be their sales office.
Their sales office?
Yes.
So don't we need an ordinance to change it from a restaurant to an office?
I don't know what it's zoned to be anymore.
Well, it is a Tasty Freeze, so. I'm
No,
assuming-
I don't think it's zoned to be a Tasty Freeze anymore, though.
Because zoning was changed for as part of the rezoning back in 2007.
Isn't all
2009.
all cars have to be special use?
Mhm.
So, it has to be.
They did, the property, or the person who put in for this
Oh,
ordinance didn't ask for that piece of property.
Yeah.
Right.
Would it be appropriate, since Mr. Gillis is in the audience, would it be appropriate to ask him a question?
Yes, I mean, what the zoning board did? Yeah.
Well, I'm just going through the minutes of the zoning meeting, and it does mention the Tasty Freeze building, that it will stay, but it'll be upgraded with paint and rehab.
You said you weren't gonna use it the first 2 years,
First 2 years.
and so they weren't gonna do anything to it unless business got better.
But we're gonna paint it and rehab it, or not anything
Not right
until,
And they promised not to use it for storage of any stuff for their car lot or their equipment, like painting and chemicals and things like that.
Well, those things would only need to be in the ordinance because a promise means nothing, and we've gone through this many times before. If we don't have it in writing,
the ordinance is just
It
for,
doesn't cover that.
doesn't cover the Tasty Freeze property, Tasty
Right.
Freeze property.
So he actually doesn't plan on purchasing it?
lease, I believe.
Is it, I don't know, is there a different operator? Is it Mr. Warsack, is it operating this too?
No, I believe it's,
He's
The owner is leasing it to
Yes.
a party.
yes.
So he's only leasing the 4 pins on 147 Cassie, not the Tasty Freeze property. That's what the ordinance reads.
Right.
Okay.
So why does the Tasty Freeze come up into the minutes of the zoning?
Because it was included in the paperwork that we got. And ours
I
is
think
only a
that's true.
recommendation anyway.
Hmm?
Ours is only a recommendation.
Right.
Okay, well, we'll add the concerns from the board to the ordinance then, such as the minimum pricings and things like that. You can get that out of,
Appearance too.
and the appearance of it, correct. Yeah, you can get that out of Cars 147's redevelopment agreement, that should suffice it.
Yeah.
There are also some part of the conditional grant of this special use. You can put conditions on special use.
Okay.
That's
Or the one that we, that would be, the one at 147th in Colmar.
In
That was
Colmar.
probably the most recent, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
there were actually some similarities with that one in terms of restrictions on how close to the street they could put cars.
Okay.
That we probably want to also include given that location.
All right, we'll make these changes and we'll send it to the board then for approval. Just a quick reminder, trustees, I need your agenda items for next week by Friday. As much as I love being up here, I'm not coming up on Memorial Day to post the agenda. Not happening. So I would like to get it out Friday, so if I could have everything by noon on Friday, so I can get it out. It is probably going to be a special meeting because we have to approve code red, if the mayor remembers. See what happens when you table stuff. So it will be a special meeting, but if you can give me your information by noon on Friday, I will get it posted so we are in compliance with the Open Meetings Act. Clerk Colston.
Yes, I have one thing. It's a letter from Adam Thorns, principal of Springfield School, to Mayor Ryback and the village board, requesting permission to block off 146th Street from east of the alley behind the Kentucky Fried Chicken to Springfield Avenue on June 3rd, 2016, between 8:30 a.m. and 1:30 p.m., as we have done every year for all school field day fun fair. Students will be crossing 146th Street throughout the day to go between the school and the grassy ball field area where some activities will be held. In order to ensure the safety of the children, no cars should be allowed on the block during block area during the indicated school hours. Your consideration of this request is appreciated.
I think it's a very good idea to close down the street. And they've done it before, because they don't mess with McDonald's entrance, they go behind that, so they'll have all their barricades up and everything.
Yes, I'll send them a letter.
That's fine, thank you. And with that,
Could I just ask a question? Is there any update on the audit?
I have actually a conference call scheduled for 2 and 3 o'clock tomorrow afternoon with the bond attorneys, and I'll know more then. And I had planned on asking them if they could send me an update so I can email it all out to you guys to where they're sitting right now. But I have, like I said, I have 2 conference calls back to back tomorrow, 1 at 2 and 1 at 3.
With the same attorneys?
One's the one from Jeff Huff, McHuff, is that how you say it? McHugh. Jeff, the one that's
Oh, yeah, Jeffrey Tucker, yeah.
Jeff's up in Michigan, and then the other one's from downtown, but they each handle like a specialty of this. I'm very confused, so.
What's the guy from Davidson?
Daryl Davidson.
Yeah.
Daryl will be on
He was up
both.
in Michigan.
Right, and so he wants me to talk to these 2 separate attorneys, Matt and Jeff, with him, so that's what the conference calls are for. I don't know.
Would it be beneficial to have the treasurer on that conference call, or possibly trustee Mosco? Since he's a CPA and she's very qualified as well, I'm just wondering just a suggestion.
I'd be glad to sit in case.
Okay.
I'm an electrician, and Joe never.
Are you?
Speaking of union, update on the fire department negotiation, we haven't heard anything like.
No, I've got to get some dates to them so we can continue negotiations. Okay? With all that being said and done, at 7:52, I'd be looking for a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
I'll second.
All those in favor?